I want to start by wishing you a heartfelt Diwali. Today, I am recording this to speak to you not just as a leader, entrepreneur, or a change maker, but more importantly, as a fellow human being. I want to speak to the part of you that wants to dream and contribute. I want to speak to the part of you that yearns for making a difference and that knows deep down that there is more to life than whatever that you have accomplished so far. On this festival of lights, we have the chance to turn inwards and examine the darkness that we all carry. Yes, Diwali is about the victory of light over darkness. But tonight, I invite you to reflect on the darkness that often hides within us, our fears, our judgments, our doubts, and to see the dreams and the love that lies behind them. Because when we look beneath our fears, our hate, pain, and judgments, we step into what deeply matters to us. And we awaken not only our own leadership, but also the potential of inspiring everybody that we meet and touch. People are starving to be led today. We have never been more deprived of good leaders as today, at all levels of an organization or even society. And today, I will share with you 3 messages of courageous leadership our world needs to hear, each one inspired by certain lessons that Diwali offers us. This is about clearing away our fears, embracing our togetherness with others, and also standing unapologetically for what truly matters to each one of us. Together, these 3 messages form a blueprint, not just for leading a company, but also for transforming lives in the process. So let's dive in. My first message is to face your judgments, melt away your fears, and then see how much you actually care. First and foremost, we must face our own judgments rather than spin around with them. And we can face our judgments not with blame, but also with compassion and love. Which means that to see, understand, and ultimately let go of the fears, judgments, and stories that hold us back. Yes, they only hold us back. Let me tell you about a client of mine, a CEO who, to the outside world, was the epitome of success. High revenues, growth year after year. But behind the scenes, they were grappling with a deep and hidden fear. The fear that they would be found out as an imposter, that they were not good enough, despite all of their accomplishments, and that their empire would come crashing down any minute. How many of you can relate to this feeling? I know that I can. How often have you wondered that despite all of the successes, you truly deserve to be where you are? How many of you have actually questioned your place where you are? How often have you felt that your luck might be running out and that your current level of success might not last? I feel this almost every week, so I can speak from experience. The first step of true leadership is facing this fear, which leads to all other judgments, hate, anger, and pain on the surface. The CEO, like many of us, was hiding behind their title and achievements. But when we dug deep, they began to see that their fear is not a weakness. It was not a weakness. It was a friend. It was a messenger. It was calling them to stop hiding and embrace how much they cared for everybody around them, and yet how they saw themselves as flawed, not good enough, and always as somebody with something faulty or missing. Even when others saw them as a milestone for success, even when others celebrated them for whatever they have achieved in their own life. Diwali teaches us that light can only shine when we acknowledge and clear away the darkness within. There cannot be light where there is darkness, and there cannot be darkness when we shine light upon it. And when we look behind our fears and judgments, we discover the dreams and the love that lie beneath them. We are only afraid or judge because we care about something or somebody so much. Now imagine leading from a place where you are not hindered by self-doubt or your judgments about yourself or others, but you are fueled by a love for what is possible, not just for yourself, but also for everyone around you. As leaders, we owe it to ourselves and to those we lead to melt away these fears and judgments. And when you release this darkness within, you make room for true courage. the kind that inspires others also to step into their own power. That is real leadership. Not just managing outcomes, but also embodying the courage to be fully and authentically yourself from the inside out. I will leave you with a few questions. Ask yourself these questions to make it count for you. What are some of the judgments that you hold about yourself, especially the silent ones? And how do you keep on reinforcing these judgments? Question number 2. How often do you feel that your success is temporary or undeserved? Question 3. How does what scares or bothers you point to something or someone you deeply care about? What dreams and aspirations lie beneath your doubts and fears? And question 4. What would it look like for you to lead without the mask of perfection or infallibility? My second message to you is to embrace our interconnectedness and see that there are no others. In the pursuit of success, we often think in terms of competition between us and them, but the truth is there is no them. As human beings, we are all profoundly interconnected. Your success is my success, and your pain is my pain. You cannot win unless the people around you win. And the people around you cannot win unless you win. I once worked with a team which was riddled with blame, frustration, and division. Tensions were high and trust was low. I brought them together and posed a simple question. What if, instead of seeing each other as competitors, you saw each other as parts of the same whole? For a moment, there was silence. And then slowly, they began to open up. People who had barely spoken to each other began to share deeply, realizing that they were all carrying similar doubts, dreams, and pressures. By the end of that session, people who were once at odds embraced each other. They laughed, they cried together, and they saw each other not as rivals but also as partners on a shared journey. And from that moment, they moved forward, not as individuals fighting for personal wins, but as a unified force committed to a common vision. The spirit of Diwali calls us to see ourselves in others, to recognize that there are no strangers amongst us, only reflections of ourselves. The darkness in one of us is the darkness in all of us. The light in one of us is the light in all of us. What would happen if every leader looked at their team, their family, their competitors, and saw only unity, saw only shared purpose? Embrace this interconnectedness. Remember, the harm done to one of us is the harm done to all of us. And the good done by one of us also uplifts us all. Remember that you cannot be at your best unless the people around you are also at their best. And others can also not be at their best unless you can be at your best. Lead from this place of interconnectedness, and you will find a strength that can withstand any challenge. Lead from a place where there is no us and them, only we. Lead from a place where there is no I versus you, only us. And when you own the us and the we, each one of you can also individually be your best I as well. I will leave you with a few questions, and once again, to make it count, ask yourself these questions. Question 1. In times of conflict or tension, do you see your team members as allies or as obstacles? 2. What would it look like if you saw others win as your own win and their losses as your own losses? 3. How would it change your approach if you believed you could not fully succeed unless those around you also succeeded? Number 4. How can you help others fulfill their potential, knowing it will help you fulfill yours as well? My third message today is to take a stand, to be unapologetically yourself, and to be a player, not a spectator in your own life. To be a true leader, you must take a stand. This is about deciding to no longer sit on the sidelines of your own life. It is about living not from what you have accomplished or what you have acquired, but from what you care about most deeply. In my own life, I have spent years hiding behind a career I had outgrown. I was comfortable and yet unfulfilled. The titles, the achievements, they were all there, but they felt more like walls that I had to stay behind. It felt exhausting to put on a mask. to want to say something, but to have to say something else. But one day I asked myself, what do I truly stand for? What am I willing to commit the rest of my life for? And the answer changed everything. I realized I was here not to live in fear, but to lead from a place of boldness, to inspire others to embrace their full potential, and to let go of those external trappings. This was terrifying, but it set me free. I was no longer defined by what I had gathered. In fact, I was driven by what I was here to create. I cannot promise you that this will be easy. It has not been easy for me as well. But I can promise you that when you let go of looking good and fitting in and take a stand for what really matters to you, it will certainly be worth it. Today, I see so many leaders hesitating to speak up, afraid of the consequences, afraid of standing alone. But hear me when I say this. Your true leadership is defined not by your titles or accolades, but by the unshakable values within you. Think about it. If everything you have gathered as proof of your success were taken away, what would remain? That would be the real you. That's your true power. The part of you that lives on, untouched by external circumstances. That's you. All of your titles, rewards, and money is not a proof of your success. It is, in fact, the evidence that you are already successful, that you have what it takes. Diwali symbolizes the victory of light over darkness, of truth over illusion. And in the same way, each one of us is also called to shine our own truth, to take a stand for what matters, even when it is hard. Because there will always be risks in standing for something. But the risk of never standing up, of never fully showing up, is even greater, is far more greater. And you become a champion not when you win, but when you decide to enter the arena. You become a champion when you stand up for something greater than yourself. Winning doesn't make you a champion. You're already a champion for what you dream and care about deep inside you. And the wins and the prizes that you get on the journey are just milestones. They do not prove your brilliance. They are only an evidence of your brilliance. So take a stand today for what you believe in, even when the outside world challenges you. Be the leader who is not swayed by appearances, but who speaks and acts from an inner core of meaning, purpose, and conviction. This is how you become not just a leader, but a creator of change. Once again, I will leave you with a few questions. To make it count, ask yourself these questions, reflect upon it, and then do something about your life. Question 1. What is the risk of staying silent or sitting on the sidelines instead of fully engaging with life? What are you willing to stand for, even if it means standing alone? Question 3. What would you say or do if you were free from the fear of what others might think about you? Number 4. If all external markers of success were taken away, what would remain within you? Number 5. What deep truth about yourself have you been hiding from others? As you light your candles and diyas this Diwali, let each flame remind you of your own inner light. As you move forward, hold these 3 separate messages close. Number 1, face your shadows. Wherever there is light, there is also shadow and darkness. And let go of those fears and judgments. Lead instead from a place of courage, not from self-doubt. Number 2, embrace our interconnectedness. See yourself in others and remember that there is no other. When one rises, when one of us rise, we all rise. Number 3, take a stand and live from your deepest truth, the part of you that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. This is the kind of leadership the world needs today. It is the leadership of wholeness, of unity, of unwavering commitment to what matters. This is not the leadership of spectatorship. This is not the leadership of taking shortcuts. This is not the leadership of hacks, tips, and tricks. But instead, this is the leadership of stepping into the arena and becoming a player in your own life. So remember this, leadership begins within. Connection is our strength. And standing for something meaningful is our calling. Let this Diwali be the moment you decide to rise, not just for yourself, but also for everyone that matters to you. This is our time to lead, to inspire, and to create a future worthy of our shared humanity. Thank you for listening to me, and may you have a Diwali filled with light, purpose, and the courage to be the leader that you were born to be. Thank you.